To you, Amy.
Yes, good morning. It is pouring rain here in the district.
Oh
It's
no, I'm looking
crazy.
outside. You know what? Here in New York City, it is starting to rain. So I'm very happy that I took Waffles out for a walk already because now I'm good till like noonish, we'll say. For anyone joining us, I'm Bobbi Rebell, one of the hosts of Money with Friends. And this is my friend, Amy Goodman. She is a lifestyle and shopping expert. If she looks familiar, in addition to the fact that her reels are amazing, she is a frequent visitor to all of the morning shows. And of course, Kelly and Ryan, and lots of fun, different. Gosh, you're everywhere, Amy. Like, I don't even know where to begin, but it's awesome to have you
Oh,
here.
I'm so excited to be with you. It's always so much fun.
And I am excited for our live audience as well. And you guys, if you are here, let me know where you're coming from because we have heard that there's a big Google outage. So we probably are not on YouTube. We're not really sure. We're probably not on YouTube right now. We think there's definitely people here. So we think we're on Facebook. So say hi and let us know where you are, where you're coming to us from. That can be what social media channel or where you live. It could be either. And then also, especially, I don't know if Twitter's working. So let me quickly look if Twitter's working. But you guys chime in and let me know. Amy, how was your weekend while I look up at Twitter?
It was extremely productive. There were some projects I've had on the back burner for a while, and one of them involved a corner of our basement. And for anybody who has that corner, you know what I'm talking about. It took a week for me to sort and organize it. And then we moved my daughter's bed. She's rejecting her bed. We moved it into that basement corner and kind of made it
Wait,
a
why is she
cute little.
rejecting the bed?
She wants a Japanese style futon bed. And she's going through a
Really?
phase where really hasn't been sleeping on her mattress and has been sleeping on the floor for like 2 months. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's more than just a phase. So
All right. Well,
we're accommodating, but we still have the bed.
okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? The phase may come back. And so the bed may come right back up.
That's
So
fine.
you never know.
That's
So, Sean is here. He's on YouTube. That's so cool. Okay. So, but you're in
great.
England. So, yay. And John is on Facebook. And I just checked and I do believe the Twitter's working. But if you see us on Twitter, say hi. So, I know. The problem with Twitter is it just like whizzes right by. So, I think it's a little bit trickier.
Yeah.
Two topics today: gift card scammers. And there's a twist. They're actually leveraging that COVID-19 to really stick it to people. And then the second one is how to know if you should splurge on a luxury item. Yes. No, just kidding. I'm actually quite frugal about those things, but I did splurge
Oh,
on a luxury item, but maybe we'll save that for the shows. So, okay, let
I
me
can't wait
press
to hear.
record. I know. Well, our audience kind of knows. I bet they can guess if we have some regulars here, can guess what I splurged on this holiday season because I was obsessed with it for a very long time and I finally did it. And I don't know. We'll talk about it. All right. So this is I'm a little spacey today, just so you know. We had a very busy weekend here in my household. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about that later. But we're getting ready to go to Florida. So we're focused on warmer weather because we have a snowstorm coming into New York. I don't know how the weather is for everybody there, but Amy's
Yes.
got heavy rain. You're probably going to get the snowstorm too this week too.
We're going to get it Wednesday, and I'm sure our friends who are watching in Pennsylvania, you'll probably get it maybe the day after here in DC, probably maybe Thursday, you're predicted. So we're all going to get a little bit, a little touch, a little white Christmas for those of us who celebrate. Happy Hanukkah to
Yes,
other
thank
audience members
you.
out there. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we had like grease and oil splattered all over our kitchen making latkes, but we did make the homemade latkes. I felt like if we're stuck here, like at our homes all the time, we should at least like go all out and make the homemade. Like we took out the food processor, we were making the potatoes. It was great. All right,
Wonderful.
we could chat all day. We're going to hit record. We're going to do the podcast. These are the podcast guys that are going to go out on Tuesday and Wednesday. Get ready with your questions and comments. These are awesome topics. Here we go. This is for Tuesday, December 15th. On this edition of Money with Friends, gift card scams are everywhere, and the bad guys are using COVID-19 to avoid getting caught and put some new twists into their methodology. We'll fill you in with shopping and lifestyle expert Amy Goodman. It is Tuesday, December 15th. Let's talk money with our friends. Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner, Bobbi Rebell, host of the Financial Grownup podcast, coming to you from my very grown-up kitchen in New York City.
And I'm lifestyle journalist Amy E. Goodman, reporting from my kitchen counter here in Washington, D.C.
Love it. Here on Money with Friends, we talk about the latest personal finance headlines, add in the insights and wisdom of our fantastic cast of thought leaders like Amy Goodman. We mix in some questions and comments from our money friends, and then we leave you with a takeaway to make it your own. Amy, it's so great to have you back.
It's wonderful to be with you always. It's such a pleasure.
I feel like I see you all the time because you've been so active with all of your holiday shopping tips. Before we get to today's story about gift scammers, what's been your most requested tip that people are really into this year?
I actually just did a big segment on gifts that give back. I think there's this desire and this want to not only buy really beautiful things that fit the personality of the person they're gifting to, but then also have it, as a part of that, a charitable component. So that segment was a tremendous success. Always, again, ways to save money. Which was the best saving day? Was it Black Friday? Was it Cyber Monday? Was it or Giving Tuesday even as a component of that? So a lot of people are still wanting to save money, of course, this year of all years. And really, right now, this day, Tuesday, is just kind of a big warning to you. Maybe the last day that you can purchase items and pay for regular shipping fees. And or some companies are offering free shipping. So this is like the benchmark, right? This part of the month in order to get it in time for those who celebrate Christmas. So, and I don't know about you, Bobbi, but there have been some major shipping delays on my end for the work that I do. I was supposed to do this huge thing for our company, and like 4 of the boxes didn't arrive. So there are definitely delays out there. If you want to get your gifts, make sure you kind of place your orders now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my husband's birthday present came like 2 weeks late, and it was really frustrating because it was this cocktail mixing kit and we were going to do it on his birthday. Like that was the plan. And I had it arriving like a week early and it still didn't make it. So definitely order and definitely, stay on check those tracking numbers. So at least you're aware, even if it's something that we just like so much this year, cannot control. Let's see which one of our friends though is going to bring us into today's story. All right. This story that you brought to us, Amy, was in Money Magazine, or money.com, I should say. It's by Malika Mitra. And the headline is Gift Card Scams Are Everywhere and Elderly People Aren't the Only Victim. And what it talks about is the fact that in 2020 alone, there have been 28,000 reports of gift and reload card frauds. Like when a scammer asks to buy a gift card from CVS, Target, or other major retailer and share the code on the back. That has resulted, Amy, in almost $80 million. According to the FTC. That's 60% more than was reported in 2016. And again, as the headline said, they are fooling people of all ages. So for example, they talk about one example of this woman that she met this guy, so, persona, who knows who it really was, on Instagram. And he basically tricked her. He said he was looking for company, but somehow he wanted to give her gift cards worth $5,000, but she had to buy the gift cards first for $100 and mail them to him or tell him the codes so that he could then load it onto those. I mean, it sounds hokey, but on the other hand, people can be very persuasive, and it's, you get tricked. So it's really frustrating. And people are taking advantage of the fact that in this time of COVID, you talked earlier about people wanting to be kind to each other and support each other. A lot of it is taking advantage of people's goodwill. And it gives the COVID-19 pandemic also gives scammers a convenient excuse to why they can't meet you in person to ask to get the money. So that makes it even more tricky.
Yeah, it's so disheartening, really. And with the example of the woman who was kind of glomming onto this guy, and he was saying from a distance, of course they can't meet, right? So he says, I'm going to buy a couple gift cards, I'll reload them up for you with thousands of dollars. And she was out of work and in a really vulnerable place. And she even said herself, under normal circumstances, I probably would have raised a red flag for me. But a lot of people are in this position where money's tight, if there is money at all, and a lot of people are out of work and wanting to find quick fix solutions. So these scammers are catching people truly at their most vulnerable, which you think, oh, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. And yet there's so many people who are literally caught in these situations. And I was talking about my husband with this last night. If you are the victim of this kind of fraud situation, it's not something we openly talk about. It's almost embarrassing. You feel like you let your guard down, your instincts weren't alert and up, and you don't really want to admit to your friend, yeah, I lost $300 in like this really weird credit. It leaves a bad feeling with you. And because maybe we're not having these conversations with one another to alert one another, it just keeps perpetuating. It's so, as I had said at the very top, disheartening.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Sarah joining us here on YouTube. She says, I think it's easier to catch people off guard here. So true, Sarah.
Especially when the scammers are saying things like, this is fun to help our heroes, right? This is going to go to healthcare workers. Or I've set up a COVID-19 fund to help blah, 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 which was actually some of the initial things that were coming through social that got shut down pretty quickly. But anything that says it's going to help kind of ease this horrible situation that we're in, part of it's pulling directly at our heartstrings. Even I will read that and be like, well, wait a minute, how are they collecting this money? And then in addition to that, when the stimulus checks were coming out earlier in the part of the year, they were saying, oh, well, you're behind in your taxes. So in order to get your stimulus check, you need to load up on this card or get a gift card and give me the number on the back. And so it's just been rather insane. And companies are actually taking heed of this and training, apparently, their employees to look out for these odd signs of people buying bunches of gift cards, maybe being on the phone the entire time that they're purchasing them additionally, to try to help and identify the situation and to stop the transaction from happening. They've had some success with this, actually, which is really commendable. Stores like Target and Walmart are helping train employees to kind of see if they can help intervene and stop the scam before it happens.
Yeah. And I think that's important. That's part of what you said, where people are starting to talk about it more. And when we talk about it more and take away some of the shame, people will realize, number one, they're not alone. And it's not only the elderly and other stereotypes of people that are taken advantage of, that a lot of us, because social media provides a lot of anonymity, even though we are supposed to have our real names, that's not always true. And even if you have someone's real name, doesn't mean they can't trick you. And COVID-19 really does provide cover in two ways. It makes people much more sympathetic and more likely to give, because we do want to show kindness. And also it gives, this piece says, it gives cover to the fact that they can't meet you in person.
Yeah. And this is all adding in addition to the fact that we're spending more on gift cards than ever, also due to this incredible situation that we find ourselves in. We are self-gifting cards to ourselves more. Like oftentimes if you'll buy a card directly from the vendor, that you'll get like a 20% bonus or whatever. So that's something very popular that we've seen. So we want to take advantage of that. Also, really, they're saying that like Gen Z and the millennials are driving the uptick on gift cards because a lot of them are using them digitally. It's easier than ever to interact with apps and get a digital gift card and then spend it in that way. So those are up. Also, we're for those who we were talking about shipping delays before, using e-gift cards is such a great advantage because it's instantaneous and you don't have to worry about shipping or any type of delays, and it immediately gets to your recipient in most cases, right? So all of those reasons are totally driving it up, this billion-dollar business, to literally, I think it's about 130 billion that we'll be spending this year alone on gift cards. So the expenditure is up, and in between the cracks is where the scammers are preying at us. And you were talking about how social media is this vicious cycle, but it's those personal messages I have been getting on voicemail, and which is, I think it's called vishing, and then also in my email, and now it's also texting. Now, I haven't received a text plea from a scammer before. Have you, Bobbi?
I receive weird texts all the time, but they're usually, to the credit of my phone company, they're usually flagged as suspicious.
That's great,
nice.
because I
Yeah.
feel like it's a multi-pronged attack. It's coming in our email, it's coming in our voice messages, and now it's coming through texting, which is a whole new avenue for them to contact us. Actually, for me, it's those personal messages where maybe they use my name and they start with an innocuous story that actually gets my attention and makes me feel super nervous.
The other thing is that it's become so easy to make it look like the email came from a company that you do business with. So you often get emails that look like they came from whatever retailer. And what you can do though, is you can click on that email address at the top of your email, and you can often see what it really is. So the name might say from Apple, that you've received a gift card or something, just click here or something like that. I mean, this is general phishing we're talking about now, but it applies to the gift card situation. always
Mhm.
make sure that it's from that place legitimately. Don't just click on those links in the email because that can just destroy your whole computer. They can just hack in and get everything. And we know, I mean, there was
Yeah.
a big hack apparently in the government computers just this past weekend, or maybe it was
Mhm.
earlier than that. Maybe it was during the election. I'm not sure, but there's been a lot of high profile hacking going on and a lot of bad actors. So this is not just an issue with gift cards, but I think that it's something we need to be talking about. What are some of your tips to avoid this, to avoid getting scammed in gift card scams?
Yeah, if somebody's approaching you rather generally out of nowhere and asking you for money, I mean, for me, that's always this tremendous, huge red flag. Even if it seems like it's coming from a company, I mean, do your due diligence and see where all this information is coming from always, and just slow down. Oftentimes, it's just one misplaced letter in a brand logo name. So it looks like it's coming from American Express, let's say, but there's
Mhm.
one little digit that's off or one letter that's off. We're so fast paced these days. We're trying to survive the holidays as best we can. And if we can just take one breath, if something looks suspicious, it probably is suspicious. If you have a gut feeling where it doesn't sound great, it's probably not great. And the government will never ask you to pay your taxes and gift cards.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, you kind of, when you take a step back, they do sound off. But I think that
Yeah.
we have to be sympathetic that in the moment, and especially with the vulnerability going on, people can be victims that you don't expect to be victims. And again, as you aptly mentioned, we don't talk about the fact that these victims don't always fit the stereotype. No one wants to say, oh my gosh, I actually did fall for this. Someone I thought I was, on it could be like even a dating website or something, and they try to scam you
Yeah.
because this person in the article, he said he was looking for company, and it just
Hmm.
and they could be from anywhere. They don't have to be from where they say they are and so on. So definitely everyone should have their guard up. Before we get to our takeaways, um, hold on just one second. I want to we're going to edit that part because we actually we're going to insert the ad afterwards. So let me just say that part again, everybody.
Hmm.
All right, Amy, hold your thought. And while you think of your takeaway, let's talk about MetPro. Okay, we're going to fill in MetPro afterwards. Amy, what is your takeaway?
Well, it's a chaotic season every year during the holidays. And you add to that the coronavirus and everything we're experiencing there. And it's very, very easy to catch a consumer off guard. And we shouldn't feel badly about it. But if somebody is asking you for money in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a gift card or cash or otherwise, stop, pause, take a breath, read what's before you. And if it doesn't feel great in your gut, it's probably not great. And by the way, the government will never, ever ask you to catch up on your taxes by loading up gift cards and sending it to them.
Absolutely. So well said. And so I echo everything that you just said. I would also say share this piece with someone that you love so they know what to look for. No one gives you money for free. If you are suspicious, just stay away. And by the way, everyone, you can always get links to our pieces by first of all going to our YouTube at Money with Friends on YouTube, and also go to our website, moneywithfriendspodcast.com. Go to the schedule and to the day that the show first comes out, which for this show is Tuesday, December 15th. And in that calendar, you will see a link to the articles that we talk about. This one, as I mentioned, is from Money Magazine, or money.com, I should say now. Amy, tell us what you're up to and where people can find out more about you and be in touch.
Oh, that's so kind. I'm at Amy E. Goodman across all social platforms. This month, I'm teaming up with Chico's, which is really, really great for wonderful fashion. Just recently, they had 50% off everything site wide and free shipping. I think that may have just ended, and now we're at 40% off. So, time to kind of load up and get some fabulous things for the women that you love, or even for yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I love Chico's. That was always a good store. I think that they may have closed their location near me. But really like wearable stuff, where you feel
Yeah.
like it's something you kind of always have owned, like it's comfortable and cozy and
Mhm.
definitely something to check out. You'll be back on Wednesday to talk about we're going to talk about how to know when you should splurge on luxury items. So everyone,
Yes.
join us for that. In the meantime, make sure that you are following us on Instagram at Money Friends Pod. That's also our handle on Twitter, and share your questions and comments with us there. We'll see you next time. Bye. Great job, guys. Those were great, great, great tips, Amy. Amy always does her homework, everybody. You know. Um, yeah. And we're gonna fill in the ad afterwards.
Okay,
So we
perfect.
just scooted past that. I think this one I do have. So yeah. All right. We are going to do the show now for Wednesday, December 16th. And everyone, please chime in with your questions and comments. We love to hear them. Let me just set this up again. Okay. On this episode of Money with Friends, how to tell when it's okay to splurge on luxury with one more time. Let's just do that again since it's the beginning. This is the episode for Wednesday, December 16th. On this episode of Money with Friends, how to tell when it's okay to splurge on luxury items. We've got lifestyle and shopping expert Amy Goodman here to tell us all about it and give us some really good advice. It is Wednesday, December 16th. Let's talk money with our friends. Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner, Bobbi Rebell, host of the Financial Grownup podcast, coming to you from my very grown-up kitchen in New York City.
And I'm lifestyle journalist Amy E. Goodman, coming to you from my kitchen countertop in Washington, D.C.
Here on Money with Friends, we talk about the latest personal finance headlines. We add in the insights and wisdom of our fantastic cast of thought leaders like lifestyle and shopping expert Amy E. Goodman. We mix in some questions and comments from our money friends, and we leave you with a takeaway to make it your own. Amy, welcome back.
Delighted to be with you. Here it's a little bit cloudy and potentially a white Christmas, a little bit early. So lots of joy here and festivity from the Goodman household.
Oh, that is so nice to hear. And I've loved watching your reels on gift wrapping and all that. How do you come up with these ideas?
You know, actually my golden gift wrapping idea was on when Meredith Vieira had her show. I had come up with how to like literally deconstruct a bag sort of and have it fit absolutely anything, a basketball, like a football, like anything that's odd shaped or odd sized. So you could literally take wrapping paper and create a wrapping bag or gift bag to accommodate any odd size gift. And it literally went, it was like 20 million plus views.
Oh my
It went
God.
crazy.
That's
Yes,
so cool.
yes. And to be very quickly copied throughout the world. I forgot to put it on YouTube. So, there's that.
Oh, there's that. Oh, the lessons we learn as the social media world evolves. Where have you been? I feel like you've been everywhere this holiday season.
It has been one of the busier ones. I'm not quite sure why that is, but just kind of quickly pivoting in to be able to do and broadcast from home, I think has been one big one. Another is I always just like really, really unique gifts and finds, things that might be I've been featuring small businesses a lot this year. They've certainly been feeling the financial crunch. So it really has been a delight and pleasure to be able to feature unique gift ideas that people might not have had on their radar, and also to support artisans and to support those who are running their independent businesses, and praying that they make it through this winter season.
Yeah, I know. It's really been very hard here in New York. The restaurants now have had to shut down their indoor dining. And as you mentioned, we've got a big winter storm coming. So I think the outdoor dining is pretty much kaput for quite a while. So I just, my heart goes out to all of these restaurants. So many of them will not survive. So let's just hope we can get them the help that they need ASAP. And also, you mentioned small businesses. We were talking just yesterday on Tuesday's show about gift cards. Small businesses are a great way to buy someone a gift card. If they don't have a big active website, they can talk you through what they sell, and they can just be a wonderful way to support a business and give somebody something unique, and much less likely to have that gift card scammed in any way than if you have one to a much more, a larger mainstream place. So you can buy gift cards at small businesses and support them. And you can also probably buy them to let people buy luxury items, which is what we're going to talk about in just a minute after we see which one of our friends, how was that for a transition? After we see which one of our friends is going to lead us into the headline. We should have a little blooper reel of like Bobbi's most awkward tosses into the headline. Okay.
That was great.
This story comes from Kiplinger, and it is by Andrew Rosen, who, let's note, is a CFP and a CEP. How to tell whether you can or should splurge on a luxury purchase. And he talks about the fact that you should think really hard before you buy these big things like a sports car or an RV, because there might be better places to put your money. On the other hand, obviously, we all have to kind of live our lives. So you and I will talk. Well, let me summarize the article a little bit more, but there's definitely a couple sides to this. he talks first about all the different things that are hitting us financially with potential tax changes and obviously the COVID-19 pandemic hitting everybody economically. And us feeling like we really want to splurge. But then he gives a couple of examples of things that people might want to splurge on these days and why. Clearly, he has a point of view here and why maybe they're not a great idea. One of his examples is a camper, because a lot of people are thinking, well, my kids
Mhm.
are learning remotely or we don't have to be in an office. Let's just hit the road. And he goes through the math in the article about how it doesn't really pay. And then he also talks about, the sports car and how that doesn't pay. But then he gets into sort of how you can evaluate it. And his three things to think about are, is this purchase essential? How will this affect my long-term future and savings? And then will it bring me something special in the form of happiness? And he says it's not that you can't always splurge, but you need to kind of think about these things. Amy, what do you
Mhm.
think?
Well, I mean, I love his practical outline. That's so smart for sure. His RV example was really, really powerful because it was saying, okay, if you buy it, and I don't have the exact paragraph in front of me, if you buy the RV and then RV writers only use it, what was it, 35 days out of a year on average, that was much better to actually rent. If you are this kind of fly by night, we're going to jump in the camper with the kids and we're going to do remote learning and we're going to go see all the national parks. If you're that person, then rental definitely makes sense. I do want to counter it though. My husband, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, he had this RV dream, right? And maybe it's a middle life thing that we go through where we are clinging to wanting to spend time with our children and enjoying those precious moments in kind of a 1970s nostalgic way. So anyway, he got a Sprinter van, he outfitted it, he put a bed in it, brought in carpet, took out seats, brought in different types of seats that were more comfortable. And now we use this modified RV Sprinter van to go to all the kids' long, like sporting events where we're taking naps and other parents are all crouched up in their cars like this. And then we also take a lot more road trips. We've taken up to Canada and to Texas and to Florida and just all over. This was pre-pandemic. We have gotten some great mileage out of that modified Sprinter van. Again, it's not a full RV. There's no bathroom. There's no kitchen sink, but it enables us to travel with the kids and have all this quality time. And then when COVID hit, my husband just sat back in his chair and he said, see, I told you so. So if you actually think that you can get miles beyond the 35 days on average per year and will really take advantage of this time to spend with family. I have now a high schooler and a burgeoning, elementary school kiddo who's in the 5th grade. If you feel like you can have some quality moments in the van, and we truly have, it could be a good kind of splurge, Bobbi.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he accurately says you have to really think about the happiness it's going to bring you. And in your
Mm-hmm.
case, it certainly has brought your family so much happiness. And I guess you remember you guys have it from before this. You didn't buy it on an impulse buy, trapped, at home on quarantine, feeling like, not that I'm feeling trapped these days, but
Yeah.
feeling like you just have to desperately get out. Not that I'm counting the days till we go to Florida for 5 weeks. So you just, and we're driving, everybody, don't worry, we're not getting on a plane. But I mean, so, that's the thing, is that we're in this pandemic and we do have this like pent up need
Mhm.
to treat ourselves, and feeling like we've been deprived for a while, even though, compared to other hardships in our nation's history, this is certainly, it's terrifying, but we're not actively, we're not drafting 18-year-olds and teaching them to shoot guns and all that stuff. A lot of us, we just are staying home and watching, Netflix and all that. But it is a terrifying time. And we do feel like, well, who knows what life will hold? Maybe I should just go for it at this point. And that's really understandable.
Yeah, we're at different stages of crawling the walls, as I put it. Some of us are in a yoga pose where our legs are up and we're relaxed, and the rest of us are like ready to punch that given wall on any given day, right? The emotions are really running the gambit. What's something that's been so interesting now that we have viable vaccines on the table, and the FDA just approved us for, in America on Friday. I'm really curious to see how this is going to affect this luxury spending category. Because I don't know if you remember, but when those stimulus checks came out, people who really needed to save that money for basic essentials at home were lining up at Louis Vuitton, and they were here in the district and in Northern Virginia and even Maryland. There were these reports of lines out the door and around the corner at Louis Vuitton, people literally interviewed and using those stimulus checks for luxury purchases Perhaps, I'm just saying, perhaps beyond their means, because they have all this cash in their hands all of a sudden. And similarly, now that we have the vaccine, or people might be feeling more hopeful and optimistic, are they going to be pumping in more money towards these luxury purchases? I'm super curious. It might cause a big boom in luxury spending, which hasn't really suffered too. The reports are kind of mixed, but it seems like it hasn't been suffering too greatly.
Yeah. I mean, retail's having a good holiday season so far, which is fascinating.
Yeah. And I see a note that we have here from a viewer saying that in Texas, a lot of people are buying houses, and that is so true, because the rates have been so favorable. And arguably, real estate, depending on where you're purchasing, what you're purchasing, and make sure it's very well researched, is a great growth opportunity for your money. That's a good example of what he was saying: long-term spending goals and how you want to invest your money and to help it grow. So you have to ask yourself the same question: a house that I'm purchasing now at these amazing rates, is that going to help our financial portfolio grow, versus a yacht that might sit in the harbor? I want to know the yacht statistics for any boat riders out there. How often are you out on the boats that you own? Because my husband has this idea in his mind, like this kind of fetish, when we make it, we're going to have a yacht. And my question there is, like, is there a coupon code for that?
I love that. No, my husband and I went through a phase. We all go through phases in quarantine of what we're watching. And we watched this yacht show. I can't remember what it is. I think it's on like the Wealth Channel. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I actually, voyeuristically, I know a little bit about this. I believe that the math is that you pay about 10% a year in maintenance. So if you buy a boat for $1 million, it's going to cost you $100,000 in maintenance at least each year. So that's kind of how that is. So it's sometimes these things you still have to pay the maintenance and stuff. It worries me when people splurge on luxury, certainly with a stimulus check, because that's not what it's for.
Right.
And then, that's not something that's going to pay dividends. Now, you might be able to resell it and get some of your money back, and in some rare brands even more, but that's not what's going on, I don't think. So please don't do that. I would say that's a no. If you get government help, if you really don't need it and somehow you get it, give it to someone who needs it. Yeah, that's okay too. Definitely. But and please don't buy a Louis Vuitton bag. No offense to the company.
There's lots of actually even rental sites, even for things like designer handbags. I haven't used it personally, and the name isn't coming fresh to the top of my mind.
Well, there's Rent the Runway. I know that, but there's
Rent the Runway for clothing, but there are some verified handbag ones where you can literally rent the designer handbag for a short period of time and then return it. And you're only paying the rental fees and a small amount of insurance, and maybe in some cases a cleaning fee, in order to use that bag, have the feel of luxury of that bag, feel like you own that bag, but at the end of the day, return it and not still be paying on your credit card, for example.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So that's definitely a don't splurge. What other tips do you have for people to know when they should splurge or not on luxury? Because you're obviously a go for that camper if you're going to use it.
I am, and it was well planned out. I think for me, splurges also have that word spontaneity that kind of go hand in hand with it. And I'm just not that type of spender. So maybe I wasn't the perfect guest to talk about this particular article, because I like to plan and budget. So I'm talking in my very echoey kitchen here. We renovated this kitchen, but we planned to renovate it. It took a while for both of us to make the financial contributions, to set them aside in a separate nest egg. This is a separate nest egg from the other one that you should have for rainy day circumstances, in order to really build out this kitchen. And we decided we didn't want to do a loan. We wanted to do it on the sweat and tears of our own hard baked money there. And so that's how we did it. So in other words, for things that are big purchases, maybe it was just how I was raised by my parents, was to set aside some money, and while you're thinking about purchasing it, watch the money grow too. Like, see how that feels. Do you like the feeling of that money growing? Perhaps you can put it in something else where it might grow in different ways and have a return investment come back to you. Oh, and I always think about return on investment. So if you don't want it maybe 5 years from now, will you be able to resale it? Does the value go up like a Toyota Land Cruiser, or does it go down like my BMW X5? So like, you want to think about those things too.
That's all good. And by the way, we have in our audience here, I think she's coming on the Facebook feed. No, on the YouTube feed. Everyone, please follow us on YouTube. Money with Friends. Julie says, boat. We were talking about the yachts before. Bring over another 1,000. BOAT. Bring over another 1,000. Thank you, Julie. And we also have a comment from Sarah talking about the fact that she borrowed an espresso machine from a friend before she committed to buying one, and she wasn't sure, and she
Yeah.
didn't use it very much, so she knew. So that was the answer.
I love that you did that, Sarah. I do this with my friends all the time. So, for example, I have a Japanese rice cooker. It's actually in the Japanese language, but my friends, their sons works just loved getting sticky rice. So whenever they would order takeout, they're like, "Can you please get extra sticky rice?" So they borrowed my Japanese rice cooker. I showed them which buttons to press and everything because it's all written in kanji. And then they found that they loved the ease of the automatic rice cooker at home. They figured it was something they would use almost every other day, as they were when they borrowed mine. They returned mine, of course, and then promptly bought one. I believe it was off Amazon.com and in English.
Good. And they use it?
Yeah, all the time, all the time. Now we exchange rice ball making recipes.
That sounds perfect. That sounds delicious, actually. What was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot. I told everyone I would say what my splurge was. So I waited. This is also like your kitchen. I mean, I waited, and I did buy the Dyson hair dryer this holiday season. I bought it on Black Friday. I did not get a discount. I was waiting. I mean, I waited years at this point, Amy, and I didn't get a discount. I did get, and I've talked about it on this show for a very long time, that I wanted one. And the audience told me I could get it. It will help me get ready faster and be easier and all that stuff. So I got permission from our money friends, but it did come with extra like gifts because I bought it on Black Friday. They were like, I didn't pay less money, but I got more for the money. So that was at least good, right? Was that an okay splurge, Amy?
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because actually I just received 2 boxes of things that I purchased. Cyber Monday was one, Black Friday was another, and they also added a little extra something. I didn't ask for it, but it just came. So there's some extra bonuses this time of year. So if you are thinking about splurging, you might get a little, extra bonus gift. Don't buy it for the extra bonus gift.
I'm always tempted though. I mean, I'm just going to be honest here. I have rounded up when they say if you spend another, $3 and you get all these gifts, I have thrown in that lipstick. So I am definitely guilty of that kind of stuff, especially with makeup. So I'm just going to own it. I'm not saying that's a good financial thing. It's one of those as I say, not as I do, but I just love the little gifts that come with things. I mean, I got the extra things for the Dyson, but I've gotten little extra makeup things of makeup I was already buying. And also like those, those silk, masks when you go to sleep, like that you can put, those are good, and little hair things. So I'm a sucker for that. What can I say? Let's take one more comment, and then, we're going to get to our takeaways soon. This is from Oscar. We bought a juicer, but never used it. My wife gave it to my mother-in-law and she uses it every day. That's excellent. Pass it.
I love it
forward if you don't use it.
I absolutely love that, and truly, even if something is on extra sale, and we're talking about all these holiday sales, even if it's like 40% off, if you're not using it with any good frequency, then it's really not a good bargain.
Yeah. And if you've got it and it's too late to return it, find someone who will use it at least, or sell it, one or the other.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Hold your thoughts. We're going to get to takeaways in just a minute. But first, I want to share one of my favorite shopping tips that I've been using for years, because we're all shopping online a lot. Frankly, I mean, more than ever. And we know we can save money. You're obsessed with promo codes. We know that, Amy. Honestly, it's exhausting though. For me, I don't always know exactly where to go. You probably do, but I get so tired looking for them, and then you find them and they don't work, and it's so frustrating. So my pro tip for everybody here is Honey. It is a free web extension, a browser extension that does all the searching for you. And then it automatically applies the best promo codes. You don't even have to worry about typing in all those little digits. It just does it. I've been using it for years. I'm sure I've saved thousands and thousands of dollars. It pretty much supports every store that I've shopped at and tens of thousands more. I recently bought makeup at Sephora, went to check. It just pops up. You don't have to even click on anything. Honey just says, do you want me to search for your promo codes? And then boom, it gives you the code and it puts it in automatically. So you don't even have to type it in. And then I remember I saved 15%. I'm always saving money with Honey. I can't remember a time when it didn't pop up. It just works automatically. So it's free free savings. It literally installs in a few seconds. By getting it, you are helping yourself. You're also, by the way, supporting this podcast. You can go to Honey for free at joinhoney.com/MWF. That's joinhoney.com/MWF. I just love it.
I love that viewer Julie was sharing, and listener Julie was saying that she loves Honey. I just added this extension to my computer last week. Should I unadd myself and then use the money with friends link?
I'm not going to go there, but everybody else use Honey. I honestly have used it for years, and I've got my husband using it. We all use it, and it always has something, even if it's just free shipping, which is not even, because shipping can be very expensive. It just pops up and it does the work for you, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to name some sites, but there are sites that profess to have a coupon, and you Google, promo code, and then you go and it says there's a promo code and it worked last. And then it's basically just a dead link. It's so annoying. And you just get frustrated and give up. And then Honey, just like you see it working. It's very cool. So anyway,
Honey,
let's do our
money.
takeaways.
I love it. Yeah, for me, this is such a big one. I'm always very cost conscious. I love, as you mentioned, my coupon codes, and I'm not shy about it. I love extensions like Honey, where you can save money, and this is on every little thing. And for the big things, plan your expenditures, especially during this time when we're feeling a little bit more perhaps hopeful. There's a vaccine on the right now, and there's great hope for the future. Don't rush out and buy some huge thing that's going to maybe bring you temporary joy for about 24 hours, and then you might have purchase regret thereafter. I always think the best splurges are actually well thought out, and then when you're done, you feel so good and so wise and better for it.
So true, and such great advice. And I would just add to that if you feel the urge to splurge, do it on something where the high end of it is not really so much money. So if you have to go to Louis Vuitton, there must be something there that's dirt cheap. I'm not familiar with it, but maybe there's a keychain or something. I don't know. Buy something really inexpensive from a fancy place or something. Buy a fancy candle. Treat yourself even to a dinner and support a restaurant. They all need our support. You'll get the feeling of treating yourself without the long-term financial hit. Amy, you've got a lot. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. You're going to add to that?
I was just going to say, yeah, at that dinner, then you can fantasize about that next great splurge that you yourself are going to do solo, or that you and your partner are thinking about. Like, plan it out.
Yeah. Or I sometimes just ignore points that are adding up on my credit card, the reward points. And then you look like 2 years later or something. And I once bought, I have one fancy purse. I bought it with points. I wasn't doing all for me, I can't keep track of all the weird, people are really smart. There are people really good at the point thing. I don't do all that gaming, the point hacking. But if you just spend like you're normally going to spend, and you look up after a couple of years, it'll add up. So maybe do that. I don't know, but you've got a lot going on.
I do, coming up I'm already planning for January and February, believe it or not. But in January, I have some Today Show and Rachel Ray. And between now and then, I have like a total of 6 segments to squeeze out before the holidays are over. So I've just been very lucky and busy.
Well, that's great. Where can people keep track of your schedule? My favorite is your Reels channel. People have to do that. But so where can people see the Reels, and then also like just upcoming where you're going to be?
Yeah, well, you shouldn't keep track of my calendar. That's not necessary.
Yes,
but you can find me at Amy E. Goodman across all social, and that's my website too. And if you just want some comic relief of like the silly little things that really happen in my life, that's where it's reflected in Reels. Have some fun with it.
Oh my God. Her Reels are so fun. That's an understatement. And she gets her whole family involved, and the kids. Oh my goodness. You have to. It's like the best show on social media right now. And you can learn more about Amy E. Goodman and all of our amazing collaborators, co-hosts, thought leaders, and so on our website, moneywithfriendspodcast.com. You can also get links to our stories by looking at the date that this podcast first came out. So for today, that would be Wednesday, December 16th. You go to the calendar, and you can also see our recording times and learn more about all of our thought leaders, as I mentioned. Please do follow us on YouTube, or I guess that's subscribe on YouTube. Just look for Money with Friends. You can also be part of our live recordings if you do that. And you can also follow us at Money Friends Pod on Instagram and Twitter. That was a mouthful, but I think I got it all out. Anyway, Amy, until next time, thank you so much for joining us. This was so great. As always, amazing tips. And we just love having you.
Well, I'll see you next time then. I can't wait.
All right. That was great. And what a great audience we had. Hold on. I'm just going to stop the
Wonderful.
recording. You guys were really fun. Great comments.
Mm,
Okay.
definitely.
Let me just do that. Hold on. All right. Always make sure to save. It's like save your work, right? In school,
Oh,
oh my goodness, I'm always so nervous and I'm working on my next book, everyone. Look for it at the end of next
exciting.
year. And I'm always terrified. I'm always backing up, uploading because I'm terrified of something happening. When you're working on, even for school, you're working, it's less so now because we have
Hmm.
so much in the cloud, but always worry
Yeah,
about that,
yeah.
right?
Gosh, what a disaster that was. In college, I used a word processor. I know that a lot of people have no
Yeah.
idea what that, but literally you'd be editing by just going, I had 3 lines at a time on my screen, and that was a lot. And
I don't know if I ever had
gosh,
that. I had one of the first Apple computers with like the floppy disk in
yeah, yeah.
college.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I had friends who had that. Well, I had the word processor.
Well, at
Oh
least it wasn't a
boy.
typewriter, right?
Yes, yes. I
So,
mean, sort of digital.
yes. I
I still
remember
had a
my
tape.
mom
Yeah.
helping me type my college applications on the typewriter.
Yes, yes. I actually
Crazy.
had to have one shipped over to Japan. I was in Japan at the time, so I could do my applications for grad school because they
My
didn't
gosh.
have PDF fill-in forms at that time. So, and
Oh,
I all the things I had access to were in Japanese characters. So my mom literally had to send over like a
oh,
typewriter
oh my
for me to
goodness.
fill the forms. I know the lengths we go to
Kids
now.
today
It's
do
so
not know
easy.
how lucky they are to be homeschooling on these fabulous computers. And hopefully,
Oh,
everyone that needs a computer has gotten one by now. That's been a whole struggle as well.
oh,
But
the digital
they
divide.
have,
Don't get me started.
uh,
Yeah.
at least, we have the technology. We just have to get it to everybody, but we have it. So, they don't have to walk, what is it, a mile uphill both ways to school,
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff that we always
We
heard about.
yeah, I feel strongly we need to improve the broadband
Yes.
infrastructure so that everybody can have better access. Yeah.
Totally, totally. All right. We're going to say goodbye to our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter friends. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining us. Joe will be back, I believe, on Wednesday.
great.
I believe his guest is going to be Bola Sakambi, I think. And I always lose track. But yeah, now we don't even walk to exactly, Peter. We don't even walk to school. Yeah. What can I say? 2020. We're rolling it out. We got 2 more weeks. Thanks, guys, for joining us. And we'll see you
Amazing.
again next time. And please tell your friends. Bye.